Welcome to Trash Talk.
Welcome to Trash Talk. Today we are going to be talking about the decision tree.
I love the decision tree.
How do you love the decision tree, Andy?
Well, I use it all the time actually to kind of push my guys to go out on a whim and make decisions on their own when they come to me asking.
Go out on a whim or go out on a limb?
But don't. Well, I guess since we're talking about a tree, we'll say go out on a limb. You're right. The one concept that's really difficult to grasp that I actually strongly believe in is letting people fail. And not that I want people to fail or, and I'll just earmark this, like, as long as it's safe and nobody's putting themselves in a dangerous situation, it's okay to let people fail. It's a really good way for people to learn and feel empowered to make decisions on their own.
I mean, one of the primary intents of the decision tree and how we're using it in the organization is to keep, pushing people to make decisions faster, to embrace the situation, have that autonomy, right? And empowerment, right? To take action.
Yeah, I don't want people asking me if they should order 50 teas or 25 90s, just what do you think you need? It's okay.
Yeah, so let's get into the decision tree. So I'd really like to describe the decision tree, how we use it, and its key elements. So the decision tree really is just that. It is a graphic of a tree, and it is broken out into 4 key elements. You have leaves, you have branches, you have a trunk, and you have roots. And as we discuss the decision tree and each of those 4 components, leaf, branch, trunk, and roots, each one of those has a level of severity. So a tree has lots of leaves, thousands, tens of thousands of leaves. And when we talk about a leaf decisions are smaller decisions or actions that we take every single day that we don't even have to report. They're just the things that we do. So we make a decision, we act on it. It just is what it is. It is not reported. It is just done. I'll say it's our day-to-day grind. And we want people making leaf decisions all the time. Branch decisions. Trees have hundreds of branches. A branch decision is a little bit bigger decision. May require more spend, a little bit more thought. It's just a deeper decision. Oftentimes it is inside the person's ordinary job or course of business. It could have a little bit deeper impact. The key thing that we want people to do as it relates to a branch decision is still to make the decision, still to act on it, but they're going to report the decision or the action that they took at their weekly meeting. So the only difference between a leaf decision and a branch decision is in a branch decision, we've told somebody what we did. Like we've intentionally reported back, I took this action. What we are encouraging everybody in the organization to do is to walk out on a limb. Like, we want you to walk out as far as you can on a limb and make whatever decision needs to happen and report it until we've determined that, hey, that's a leaf decision. And then we'll tell you, hey, you don't have to report this anymore. That's just that because that's now a leaf decision.
Well, what happens to the tree if a limb breaks?
That's a great question, Andy. The tree will live. So we want people to walk out on a limb, walk out on a branch, and break as many limbs as they reasonably can, because the tree will survive. And if you walk out on a limb or you walk out on that branch and it breaks, the tree's going to live. And what that now creates is a learning moment. We now know what needs to change in that action, right? So we're going to learn from it, and we're going to encourage you to walk back out on a limb. In all likelihood, that's going to become a leaf decision or a branch decision forevermore. Right? So we want to keep walking out on limbs. As we move a little bit deeper into the trunk of the tree, that's where you might say, hey, you know what? If you walked out on a branch and it really is a trunk decision, that now becomes a coaching moment. No, this is a trunk decision. Before you make that action, what we want you to do is come to us with your recommendation, and we will help you make that decision. So the difference between a branch and a trunk is whoever is in charge of making that decision or whoever needs direction for the action is still coming to you with a recommendation that's hopefully well thought out and says, this is what I am recommending we do. I would like your input, i.e. to a manager, a colleague, whoever it needs to be. At that point, That manager could say, sounds like a branch decision to me. And now they've got their direction to go walk out on a branch again. Maybe that lends itself into a conversation to think about a different alternative. Hey, that seems like a really good idea, Andy, but why don't you think about it a different way? And then come back to me once you have a new solution. And hopefully that becomes a coaching moment into turning that into a branch decision. Like, again, the goal is for everything that we possibly can in the organization would be a leaf or a branch. Trunk decisions, again, just have a little bit more severity. And, you know, a tree can take a lot of blows to the trunk without dying. I literally can take a hatchet to the trunk of a tree and give it several good swings, and that tree's not going to fall down, right? It's going to survive. It's going to hurt a little bit, but we can absorb a few good hits.
So we're 3 layers deep at this point. We got a few different examples going through my head. I guess starting out with one, you have a truck that's dirty. Hey, should I go get a car wash? That to me would be a leaf decision. Tires are getting worn. Hey, should I go get new tires? Now you're probably talking about a branch decision. Hey, should I go buy that truck? Now we're probably getting kind of trunky.
Yep. I'll say unless there was a budget set aside for a truck and they know it's within there, I would say, hey, we set a budget for your truck. You found a truck, go buy it. You know, you're within what we've already agreed upon. Sounds like a branch decision.
So there's one more layer, right?
Yeah, so the last layer is a root decision. Root decisions are the deepest decisions that we can make that are going to impact the organization or could jeopardize the organization. Because if you start digging into the roots and make the wrong decision or a bad decision, you could kill the tree. Typically, root decisions are going to be made at the highest level. Going to your truck example, Andy, if someone said, hey, I decided to give away all of the vehicles in the company, you know, $1 million or more of liability here, like, probably digging into the roots a little bit more if you just gave away all of our assets to charity, because that seemed like a good idea, right?
Yeah, I don't think we'd be able to run the construction crew if we gave away all our trucks.
No, that's right. So it's going to be a little bit deeper. The decision's going to be made joint with management. And again, in all cases, as we're encouraging people to take action and to make decisions, is to come prepared with recommendations, to have thought things through, thought things out, and to keep walking out onto a limb. So job aids are available for this. We've got small cards you can keep in your pocket. We got stickers you can put wherever it needs to be. But just remember, we want people to have the autonomy to make as many decisions as they can within their job functions every single day. And we're encouraging people to walk out on as many branches as they can so that we can continue to expand our boundaries. So paired with the decision tree, and to help identify where you are on the decision tree, we've got 3 questions. Call them the just do it questions. So the first question you got to ask yourself, is it lawful and or consistent with our internal policies? I.e., is this, like, legally can I do this, or is it in compliance with our rules or our policy? If the answer to that is yes, then you know automatically you're either a leaf or a branch, right? 100% always. If you can't answer that question, chances are you are at least at a trunk or a root decision. So again, question number 1, is it lawful or consistent with our internal policies, i.e. compliance, safety, etc.? The second question, is this in the best interest of those involved? And those involved could be our company, could be the project, could be a customer, could be the employee. That's question number 2. So is it lawful? Is it in the best interest of those involved? If you can answer question number 2, you can continue to proceed in your decision-making authority. And then question number 3 is, am I willing to be held accountable for my decision? So if you can answer all 3 of those questions, without a doubt, you are always going to be on at least a leaf or a branch. If you can't answer those, then you're probably getting into the trunk or the roots. And that's when we encourage you to talk to a manager or an owner and figure out the best path forward. One other thing I'd like to add about decisions is the difference really between good decisions, bad decisions, and then right and wrong decisions, or really its outcomes. Because really we're in the business of making good decisions. And a good decision is based on all the known facts and circumstances. I've chosen a direction to make this action based on everything that I know to be good and right in this path. So I've answered my just do it questions. I know that it's lawful or consistent with practices. I know it's with the best interest of those involved, and I'm willing to be accountable for it. That is a good decision. That does not mean it's going to be the right decision, and that's okay because it was a good decision. Sometimes we choose a direction based on good information. We make a decision, but we end up with the wrong outcome. I thought we should go right based on this. I'm willing to be accountable for that, but it looks like we really need to go left. That is okay. And so we fully embrace people making good decisions regardless of the right or wrong outcome. A bad decision would be if you got somewhere on these just do it questions and you could not answer yes, or you knew that the odds or probability of failure were high and it probably should have been further down on the decision tree. And what we absolutely want to discourage is people making bad decisions. So if you ever have a question of whether or not it's a good decision or a bad decision, I'd refer to the just do it questions. Again, we want to encourage people to embrace failure, to walk out on a limb, and learn from those moments.
Ask your manager or supervisor. They might simply respond with is that a Leaf decision? If you don't know.